Welcome to Dental All Stars. I'm Eric Vickery, president of coaching at All Star Dental Academy. And I get to be the host today of Dental All Stars podcast because I get to interview my friend and founder, CEO of All Star Dental Academy, Alex Nottingham. So I'm honored today, Alex, that I get to be in the driver's seat today interviewing you. Welcome.
You, just be very clear. We're the co-hosts. We're co-hosts here, taking over the program. So
Just like a D personality style. It's like, well, not all of the
not
control, Eric.
exactly.
Not
Yeah,
all of it.
not all of it. You're not going to take it all. But I like that this was the idea. We were fighting about this in the green room. Who's going to go? And we're fighting. We're like, let's just go back to your idea, Eric. I'm always changing
Yes.
things up.
All right. This podcast is going to be leadership for all. That's what we're
Leadership for all.
focused on. Leadership for all. So what does leadership look like? Why do we need it? Is it even something that I am? And really, I think the key phrase is all. Everybody is a leader. You lead your kids, you lead your patients, you lead your customer, you lead your spouse, and they lead you. And you also lead your team. And so, we had this leadership intensive a couple weeks ago at our Practice Growth Summit in May in Fort Lauderdale. And we had, 18 or 19 leaders in the room talking about what are the challenges of leadership and how do we manage this and how do we operate through this? And you were in that room with us working through all this and just, I don't know, share some feedback of your perspective, maybe a shift in leadership. What did you pick up? There were some things you said to me afterwards. I was like, I need to get that on the podcast.
Yes.
So this is really why we're here. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I can talk in multiple ways with this. What I got out of it personally, what I see it for the company.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a great company at All Star with all of our leaders here, Eric Vickery being one of our top leaders at All Star. And it's really quite miraculous what we've been able to do because we have each one of us, you, me, Shelly, Robin, Heather, each one of us could be the CEO, could run this company or a competing company. Yet we come together, we put our egos aside and we say we have a bigger vision that we're looking to do and we work really well together. And you've been the champion of events for quite some time, and you're always adding another event. Like, we got to do this. And Heather's like, oh no. And I'm like, why is he doing that? I know you love it. And I'm like, okay, Eric. And part of it, I always say with the team, if it makes Eric happy, we'll do it anyway, because I know it will benefit people. But that's just because we love you so much. But what was very interesting is taking this leadership intensive, which was really designed to be a retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, let me see what Eric's trying to do, right? Because so far the events that we've created together have been very successful. And I'm like, another one? Let me see. So I wanted to see this leadership thing out for myself.
This is all very true. All very true.
You're getting the insight of how we work at All Star.
That's
not
right.
as polished as you may
Let's see
see
how this thing really turns out, Eric. I love it. Yes. Yeah.
So I come in there and I want to say, what is he talking about leadership? It's like, that's a little bit maybe beyond what our, we're training on phone skills, on scheduling. We have the Practice Growth Summit, which we did phenomenal, by the way. That was an amazing event, fraternity, the best in personal and business growth. And although when I say personal and business growth, leadership is a big issue there. I just didn't want to get too, so you see the back, I didn't want to get too narrow on that. Anyways, so I went to it and I was really impressed. I was like going through it and I'm like, well, first of all, the first impression is I know this already. I have an MBA. I have a JD. I work for Tony Robbins. I know a lot of this. But then I started to stop being such a contrarian for the moment. And I'm like, wait a second. I need to hear this again because I may know it. And many of you dentists, maybe you haven't heard it, but maybe you have. But I'm like, once you started to make us apply what you were teaching and you were coaching us through the retreat, I'm like, I need this too as CEO of All Star. Like, everybody needs this. That's why the whole point is leadership for everyone. And our philosophy at All Star is just because our content should not be revolutionary. Some is for some people, but it's about repeating it. Repetition is the mother of skill. Hearing it again, role playing. So we'll do, even with the phone skills, we'll say, oh, I know the great call process is easy. Then we do a call grade and they score very low because actually applying it is so different. And we'll kind of unpack it a little bit like EQ and other insights that I have. And so just to kind of give the big picture here, what I saw was an experience in this. I said, I see what he's doing. I see why this is important for me, which we'll talk about, but for the dentist. And quite frankly, I was texting you earlier. I'm like, wait, Eric, could anybody who's not in dentistry benefit? Like we had my buddy, the chiropractor, he was there. I have a physical therapist, doctor that wants to come to this, and others in business and entrepreneurs. Like anybody can benefit. So my point is this: is that the other thing is this is the last point. I see being CEO, right? You're looking at the entire business, but I'm not there with every coaching client you're with. And from a coaching division, as president of coaching, you keep hearing, and we keep seeing in our mastermind that the dentists are having trouble leading and they keep getting stuck on that. And there's only so much time you can make on the mastermind time. There's almost so much time you can make when it comes to coaching call.
That's the key right there.
This is you just immerse yourself in leadership and leaders. And this was all what it was all about. It was beautiful. And I see the need.
Yes. And from the coaching perspective on this, here's the frustration from a coach. It's the same frustration for a dentist or leader trying to get their team member to get it done. The analogy we use is leading a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. We use that storyline in the whole thing. The same thing from a coach standpoint is, 1 hour a month, I give my coaching client the next hour, and I'm going, where's that vision? Where's that vision? Where's that vision? Now we're 3 or 4 months in, they're going, this is time set aside to not only understand what you're going to do, why you're going to do it, but then give you the appropriate guidance to get it done right then and there. And that's where the retreat comes into play. And so the coaching is meant to follow the retreat, the accountability to delivering on what you created at the retreat when it comes to vision. That's just one example. So I want to go back to a couple of things you said, because I love that you honored All-Star in it, and you've done a great job at nurturing this. And I think, the people you've put at the table is what we'll call it, the head table and the leadership table, is when you start putting really good, I put great leaders in those spots, they attract really good people.
It's true.
That's influence, and people will stick with that. That's what leadership is. I'm a big John Maxwell fan, certified coach with him. I love his stuff. And he just talks about leadership as influence. And here's what I would challenge those listening to this with. If you were to leave your practice and start something brand new, would they follow you? We've got an amazing dentist story in the last year. He celebrates 1 year anniversary with us this couple weeks ago. And he was telling his story again about how he was in a practice, he was losing good team members because of the culture in this location. And he realized, you know what, I got to go do my own thing. He went to his own thing, and those people just slowly start coming back to him. That's a sign of organic or natural leadership skills. You can develop those. Anybody can develop those. So when you look back at your experience at this, what did you want to work on and develop for yourself coming out of it? What stood out to you?
What stood out to me is emotional intelligence. We took the exam, and I wasn't surprised with some of the what it showed, but then it was also starting to apply that in the session and throughout the week, and just seeing that it just needs focus on. And I saw examples of my interaction with the team where I could have been a little bit more skillful in my choices, because I'm very D in the DISC profile. We talk about that as well as leadership, and I can come in like a freight train. And there's some benefits to having a D personality in a business. They drive a lot of businesses. We've been very successful, but there's some collateral damage. And with becoming more skillful through leadership, I can still obtain what I want without as much damage, where people don't feel I remember one of our new coaches, so sweet, and she, she's really trying hard, and I was really impressed with her, and so I wanted to challenge her more, and so I came in D at the wrong time, at the
bottom line,
and so she was fine with it, But then she started to cry. I mean, she appreciated the feedback, but it was an inappropriate time. And in the book that we're training with and what you teach is like part of EQ is knowing, okay, you want to get that done, learn the time to do it and then apply it.
Yeah.
The other thing that was really interesting, we did an exercise at the intensive on how to give feedback, whereby you put in deposits before you make a withdrawal. With the D personality, it's going to be, I go right for the withdrawal, I go right to the point. But we have to consider the other person. How do they feel? And again, we've heard this, yes, treat, but we need to be reinforcing it, and we need to hear it different ways. Leadership, you're going to have to hear it the same thing in a different way multiple times, and you made us role play it. And that helped to really refine it. And that's why it's so important to this year after year. So I think some of those stood out as being better with EQ with my team. Our integrator taught me, which is one of the things you teach in leadership about being a firefighter versus fire lighter. Where are you going to choose, in terms of leadership, to make things better or make things worse?
Yeah. So much in there. I'm taking notes while you're talking. So DISC personality style leads to, I always say DISC is the gateway drug to emotional intelligence, because a whole point of understanding our personality style is how we communicate. It's a communication style, so that when we communicate more effectively through adapting who we currently are. So if you were in your most comfort zone, you would fit 15% of the population pretty well.
Sure.
The other 85% will go, oh, he's way too bottom line, way too direct, way too whatever, And over the last 9 years, you've really just totally shifted into awareness of that and adapted it. Well, if you think about EQ, there's 4 sections: self-awareness, self-management. Okay, that's what we're talking about. And then social awareness, relationship management. There's the adaptation part. And in those 4 categories, someone's always low in one of them. Even if you have high numbers, one of them is low. One of our coaches that we're in the middle of just onboarding, her EQ is phenomenal. High 80s, low 90s and things. But there's still going to be one that's low. Well, what does that look like when it's low? Well, her DISC personality style is SI. So in that SI, she's very people-oriented. What is she not? She's not very task-oriented, which means she's not going to be a driver to tell people what to do, which means her relationship management is low. Because how do I manage people? Well, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, and that pulls you back. The I want people to like me. Relationship management pulls you back. We call it fear of rejection or approval addiction, whatever it is. Those things are all related. And so as a leader, you're looking back at a situation. You were texting me, I think, about this, like, well, how do I get better at EQ now? Well, you look back at that instance, you say, self-awareness. What did I do? What could I have done differently? When that same instance shows up again, how will I replay it? How will I do it better? And then you can practice that. You can, with Heather, you can role play it. You can practice with yourself in your car, whatever you want to do. I know you like to sit in your new car. So
I do.
You you can be prepared the next time that shows up, and you're always just getting better at EQ. And the awesome stat about this is, of the CEOs they studied in emotional intelligence, they really pointed out that only 20% of the best CEOs have high EQ. They have high IQ and low EQ. Only 20%. 70% of the best CEOs have high EQ and average IQ. So what we're telling us is relationship management actually becomes the number one factor in influence in leadership. So how do you cultivate that? How do you do that?
What was interesting is my relationship management was actually my highest score. My weakest score was social awareness. So I think what happens, and it makes sense, like when people get to know me and I develop the relationship, they're like, oh, I love Alex. I get him. He's a DI, and I can be very I too, and it works well. And I'm able to. That's been kind of developed through personal awareness and so on. But I saw there's still a lot of work to be done. And one of the principles that I've learned through personal development is lots of self-compassion. I am who I am, not as an excuse, but I am where I am right now. And I appreciate and love myself where I am. It doesn't mean I cannot continue to improve. And And so there's no shame. It's just, here we are. What's next to work on? What's next to improve? Social awareness. So I study the chapters on that. And with social awareness, it's really sensing, like that moment I gave an example. We were at dinner. It was actually, it was funny. I usually wear a white shirt, and everybody, our integrator, Shelly, she got everybody to wear a white shirt and surprised me. And this is speaking of social awareness. How funny is this? I sit down. I don't notice. No clue. And they're like, "Do you see something different, Alex, in the room?" No. The white shirt? Oh, white shirt. Got it. Whatever. And then I proceed to go tell the coach my idea, being 2D at that time. That wasn't necessary. But the idea is with social awareness, and again, we can do podcasts just on EQ, but come to leadership, we spend hours on this. With the whole point is, stop for a second, pause, notice the surroundings, have intention when you come into a room. And so if you're a dentist, that's going to be before case presentation or meeting with a patient, you have something you're going to do before meeting with an employee. If you're just any entrepreneur, any business person, stopping, pausing, noticing your surroundings, especially if you're weaker in social awareness, you just got to prepare more to develop those skill sets. And what's great about emotional intelligence, IQ, you really can't improve much. EQ, you can with training.
Yes.
And that, and what's nice about it is that is a greater predictor of being a great leader, being a great manager, being successful in life, in your business. We like to model the best, right? So we want to look at the best dentists. We want to look at the best business people. And you always see that the leader has a high degree of emotional intelligence or awareness. And people respect that. And that's where that works. And there's a lot of chaos we will see. Conversely, we see a lot of chaos in businesses when the leader has a very low EQ. You can do all the coaching you want, you can do everything, but if your EQ is too low and you can't see it, or you're not willing to work on it, there's not much we can do.
And how we see it is a C, but I'll just pick on the C personality style, very analytical, very left brain, loved the sciences in high school, decided to major in it in college, and then like, what am I going to do with this science degree? I'm going to be some sort of doctor. I'm going to be a dentist or whatever. And I'll just focus. I know it's for all, but I'm focusing on dentists right now.
Sure.
And what happens is they love the artist side of the business owner, not the entrepreneurial side, not the leadership side. There's all three sides of that. And what happens is they think out of school, typically they're going to be able to just go and be the artist. They're going to go do dentistry, and that's going to be enough. And the hard part is that's what the demand of the job is, 32 hours of seeing patients. Where do you lead in that? Where do you find time to be a leader in that? And what we're cultivating is an understanding that your team needs more than just a boss. True. Leaders are heroes. That's the acronym we use, heroes, at the event. So how you show up on a consistent basis with your character creates credibility as a leader. You have to know that you are being viewed in everything you do and being judged by your team and being held accountable to that consistently. So every interaction you have even with other people, they're watching and paying. It's like kids, they're paying attention to it. And they're watching who you are. And so if you have a vision, you have a purpose, you have a mission, and you have goals, and this is where you're going, how do you act that out? How do you behave that? And then how do you connect with your team consistently in a way that allows them to drink the water? And don't just lead them to the water, but drink the water.
Well, something that really stands out to me that is quite interesting, happiness. Being a better leader, we're talking often, and in the past for me too, I just got to be a better leader. I got to be a better leader. I got to keep working on myself. I got to, because either I have to because of shame, or I'm not good enough, or I have to because I'll make more money. But what I found is that with leadership, being better at EQ, being better at leadership, which it means, as you always talk about with speaking skills and just in leadership, you're only as good as your ability to communicate, right? You're only as effective as your ability to communicate. But communicating better, leading better can lead to more happiness. I really believe it. I feel it in myself, because my goal is, yes, I want to be a better leader to be able to support the company and the movement that we have here at All Star Dental Academy that's greater than ourselves. but I also get a great degree of happiness working with the team, and having a harmonious team brings me joy, and I learn a lot from everybody. So imagine being in a state where you are you enjoy yourself, you're happy, you're enjoying your team. I joke, I say this often, but I say, I wish for all of you to have a boring life. You go to your job, your dentist is going to be your practice. You come in, you love what you do, your patients, your clients are happy, your team's happy, we're all making plenty of money, there's no drama. You want drama, there's other ways you can find drama, but the reward of great leadership is just not the financial. It's going to be, and yes, a great team, but you're going to have, I believe, much more happiness as a result of it, because you're going to be more balanced. And the side effect of self-awareness is finding ways to heal yourself and be better. And that's a whole nother area. Really, at our PGS, our Practice Growth Summit, one of the wild card entries into our intensives was life mastery. And that was a super, we got great reviews on that. Life mastery taught by your wife, a therapeutic coach, on being better at life. Why do you do what you do? How to have more happiness, how to have more sanity. That's what we're all looking for. So why not? That's our vision at All Star. And that's why, for me, I can change very quickly once I see it. And I saw it at leadership. Our job here at All Star together is, we're not just doing it to make ourselves happy, which we kind of do, actually. We do want to make ourselves happy. But at the same time, we're building technologies and experiences that are transformative, that people need. And the ultimate goal is more happiness, more sanity, and making a difference in people's lives. That's a great side effect of doing this work.
Yeah, the freedom that comes with developing more leaders. What you've done is, and it took some time. It's like a colander, right? You're filtering through some. It takes time, and dentists are leaders. Dentists are frustrated with, oh my gosh, I got to hire another person. I lost that person. That wasn't your person. You're sifting through. You're attracting the right person that is attracted to your vision and who you are as a leader. So be on purpose about that and create freedom through influencing others into leadership roles. The answer to your leadership problem is not, well, let me just hire an office manager. That is not a solution to team building or leadership concerns, or the need for leadership. The dentist, it's funny, the dentist is an absentee owner. Now, from business school, we learned that absentee owners is somebody who just puts money in and doesn't influence at all. But in this sense, the dentist is an absentee owner because, their head's down at patient, treatment, and they don't know what's going on. The hub of the business is administrative. And so we think, hey, let's put this office manager up there and they'll lead my business. Well, they will help you manage your vision. They will help direct team members towards your vision in a sense, but ultimately the team's going to look to the boss. Ultimately, the team's going to look to the owner of the business. And so you have to have time set aside for really leadership opportunities, which would be team training, morning huddles, going on retreats, taking them to training courses, going on an adventure together, time away from patients together as a team to be whole. And I think all too often we're just in the game too much. We don't take time out to do what we need to do.
And I think you're kind of answering the question I would turn back at you, Mr. Host of this podcast, is to become a better leader, what are elements that we need to do, not in terms of content, that's what the retreat does, but what are action steps I have to take? And I think you were hitting on it already, like do a retreat. The vision is do a retreat every year. We do it here at All Star Dental Academy. And again, I was texting you just this morning in the new ride. I'm like, Eric, or you text me back. I asked you, was it this morning or whatever? I said, interesting. Would this leadership program, this is a retreat we're going to do every year, and I see why now. I was like, why are we doing it every year? But I see why. Repetition is a mother of skill. We have to keep hearing it and doing it over and working on it. But would it apply to all beyond even dentists? And you said, absolutely. Any business owner, entrepreneur. That's why often you say spouses should also get a ticket if they're involved in the business decision, even if they're not a dentist. And being the CEO of All Star, I was just eating lunch with my dad yesterday, dentist, and he's telling me about what he's doing. He's 80 and he loves doing dentistry still. And he's telling me about, look at this case. I did this. Here are the temps. And I'm just looking over here. We're at lunch. And I'm just like looking away, like not like trying to, but I'm like, he's like, son, hello, I'm talking to you. Do you not see the work I'm doing? I'm like, where are you? And I'm like, yeah. I said, Dad, in my company, I shared, I often tell our dentists, I don't do DDS. What do you mean? I don't do dull dental stuff. And he's like, aren't there your clients? Yeah, but I have like Eric and others that do the specialty in dentistry. I'm in the business realm. And so it just doesn't interest me. It doesn't have, and that's what's amazing. The leader of All Star doesn't really need to know a lot about dentistry because because it's beyond that. It's because I wanted to demonstrate to all of you, it doesn't, any business can benefit from what we teach, but you have to have the specialists like Eric Vickery, our president of coaching, the coaching core, to be able to then do the tactics to deal with the dentistry. But we're still people. We're still leaders.
Yeah.
And so that's where this whole point was. I said, Eric, not only can anybody benefit from this, I can benefit. I will be teaching some of the course with you, but I want to participate. I want to get better. And every year I want to be there to be supporting this endeavor, and that I have to be better as a leader because we have to demonstrate as well to our followers that we're going to be doing the same work every year. And that's the vision of this retreat.
Yeah. No, I think it's well said that we're in the tooth industry, but we're actually in the relationship business.
That's right.
And relationships, think about it this way. If leadership is influence, the only people you can influence are the people you're in a relationship with. If you're not in a relationship with people, you have no influence with them at all.
That's brilliant.
So how do you develop a relationship with people is really what we're talking about. And then it boils into not communication, but effective communication, like we were saying earlier. So we go through the 6 pillars of a business. Think of it like an MBA. That's the program we're going through, and we're analyzing all of that. And part of that is vision and team of those 6. Well, in the team part, it's leadership. In vision part, it's leadership. This is just sectional. And then we use the HEROES acronym for that. So those are the steps we take you through to become a level 4 leader. So someone who is into people development, growing your team, developing them. That's what people are looking for. They're not just looking for someone with a title who's a boss, who's yelling instructions to them. They want someone who's in the mix with them, who leads like they say they want their team to operate things. They have integrity with that. They're in sync. But then they also step back and cheer their team on. And they don't get into a burnout model. They don't get into a boss model. They get into a hero model. And that's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of this. Yeah, heroes. Leaders are heroes.
So I'm listening to this podcast, Eric, and I'm a dentist or business owner or entrepreneur, or again, have no affiliation into medicine or dentistry. I could come to this event and benefit.
Yeah. This, again, we're taking information study that I've done and our other presenters have done in leadership and bringing it to dentistry.
Right.
It just happens our focus is dental, but this is for anybody who wants to be a leader. So we'll have people in the room who are financial advisors. We'll have people in the room who are they own marketing companies. We'll have people in the room who are tax advisors. They own companies. They lead teams. This is why we want, if you're listening to this and you own your business and your spouse is in the business with you, we want them to enroll in this program as well, because we actually start with your personal life vision. That's where we start. Your purpose. What's your purpose statement? That should be the thing that drives your business vision, not the other way around. Not the other way around. So if we do this well, we will help you get really clear with your partner in life on where you're going. You'll have time to do that, and then you create your business vision. You go from there. And then that creates your goals, and that creates the type of team you want. And then you're developing your team, and you're going down the 6 pillars of business. This is creating space to do that every single year. Your mission is changing about every 2 to 3 years. You're getting redirected on things. And what drives me bonkers as a coach is I talk to team members. Hey, what's the doctor's vision? Ooh, yeah, something to do with comprehensive care. They've heard it. It's been so. And sometimes I ask doctors, what's your vision? Oh, that's on a piece of paper somewhere. That's not what this is about. Creating a living, breathing organism in your culture that drives it.
Sure.
And that's inspirational. That's what gets people fired up.
And I think often most of what we do is working in the business per Michael Gerber, E-Myth Revisited. And this is an opportunity to work on your business.
That's
Things that
right.
are important that may not be
That's
urgent,
right.
but will be later. So to
Yeah.
learn more, I'm assuming we would just go to the website, allstardentalacademy.com, and you'll be able to find it. By the time you listen to this podcast, all that's there. We have so many great things that we're building that are coming out and to there, and we're trying to make sure that we have it ready for you. But allstardentalacademy.com, you can click on events and you can find out more information about the leadership retreat. This is a small, you can also email Heather at allstardentalacademy.com if you have any questions. This is a small program.
This is very
and
small. This is very
our
small.
programs sell out pretty quickly because we don't want them too big. We want them to be quality versus, I mean, we get a lot of reviews. Our PGS, many of our attendees says, I'd rather come here than those big seminars because I just feel like it's a number and it's just a zoo. Here I can talk to the speakers, I can talk to the personnel. This is a retreat. It's going to be max 20 or 25. And we're going to have a nice time. We move it all around the country into tropical locations, which are nice to retreat and stop for a moment and think leadership, think vision. So allstardentalacademy.com or Heather at allstardentalacademy.com if you're interested, you want to learn more. This way you can get details, payment plans, options, early bird, whatever that might be, depending on when you're listening to it.
And it'll be in January every year.
Every year in January.
Start your year off with your vision planning, going back through things and working on yourself as a leader in a reflective state, but also in a projective state. How am I going to be? How am I going to improve as a leader? We're always improving.
Well, you're the host, so you have to sign off.
Oh, so thank you for listening. And if you like what you're listening, I'm sure there are other people who would like to hear this too that you know. So if you're a team member, slide this into your doctor's text message. Share this with them so they acknowledge that, hey, my team wants me to be the best leader I can be. So follow us, share this on all the platforms. And we really appreciate you focusing on growing yourself, having a growth mindset. So from Alex and Eric at All Star Dental Academy, thank you so much for spending your day with us. And until next time, go out there
and
be an all-star.